Defining the word woman used to be pretty simple. We used to do it at law, we used to do it in society, but these days it's getting pretty tricky because of leftist woke ideology. And we saw a classic example of this just last week. Let's check it out. So Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson wants to be on the US Supreme Court. It's the highest court in the USA where key decisions have been and will be made on hot topics such as same-sex marriage, abortion for women, religious freedom, and transgender rights. And in fact, President Biden promised to specifically appoint a black woman to the US Supreme Court.
To sit in the Supreme Court, I believe, is one of the most serious constitutional responsibility a president has. Our process is going to be rigorous. I will select a nominee worthy of Justice Breyer's legacy of excellence and decency. While I've been studying candidates' backgrounds and writings, I've made no decision except one. The person I will nominate will be someone with extraordinary qualifications, character, experience, and integrity. And that person will be the first black woman ever nominated to the United States Supreme Court.
Okay, so during her confirmation hearing this week, this black woman was asked by Senator Marsha Blackburn, who's a Republican from Tennessee who's been campaigning against transgender females, biological men, competing against biological females. She asked the judge to define the word woman. A pretty simple question, isn't it? I mean, she was nominated because of this definition. But you'll see the nominee Supreme Court judge says, I can't, which is code for I don't want to because the gender activist leftists will get upset.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe the
biologist.
meaning of the word.
Not in this context, I'm not a biologist. Okay, so in the world of woke leftist confusion, I can't say that 2 + 2 = 4 because I'm not a mathematician. I can't tell my wife that I'm buying her roses. What's a rose? I'm not a botanist. I can't tell you if I have 5 fingers because I'm not a doctor. I don't know if it's raining outside because I'm not a meteorologist. I can't pay my taxes because I can't define tax. I'm not a tax accountant. I wonder if the IRD would accept that. This shows just how ridiculous gender theory is and most of the other woke theories associated with the left. I mean, even Joe Biden can figure out the answer. He specifically said he wanted to appoint a woman. How could he figure that out? According to the left. But immediately the left-wing mainstream media leapt to her defense. USA Today said, scientists, gender law scholars and philosophers of biology said Jackson's response was commendable, though perhaps misleading. It's useful, they say, that Jackson suggested science could help answer Blackburn's question, but they note that a competent biologist would not be able to offer a definitive answer either. Scientists agree there is no sufficient way to clearly define what makes someone a woman. And with billions of women on the planet, there is much variation. Then USA Today went off to their woke academic who said, I don't want to see this question punted to biology as if science can offer a simple, definitive answer, said Rebecca Jordan-Young, a scientist and gender studies scholar at Barnard College, whose work explores the relationship between science and, get this, the social hierarchies of gender and sexuality. Now, let me just show you the conclusion of the exchange between Senator Blackburn and Judge Brown Jackson, because Blackburn makes some excellent and refreshing statements as she pushes back on the judge's pretend confusion.
Provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in
Okay.
this context.
So you
I'm not a
believe the meaning
biologist.
of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Senator, in my work as a judge, what I do is I address disputes. If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the
All right.
law and I decide. So I'm not.
The fact that you can't give me a straight answer about something as fundamental as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education that we are hearing about. Just last week, an entire generation of young girls watched as our taxpayer-funded institutions permitted a biological man to compete and beat a biological woman in the NCAA swimming championships. What message do you think this sends to girls who aspire to compete and win in sports at the highest levels?
Good question.
Senator, I'm not sure what message that sends. If you're asking me about the legal issues related to it, those are topics that are being hotly discussed, as you say, and could come to the court. So I'm not
And
able to.
I think it tells our girls that their voices don't matter. I think it tells them that they're second-class citizens, and parents want to have a Supreme Court justice who is committed to preserving parental autonomy and protecting our nation's children.
Yep, very good point. Now, just one last thing. Last week here in New Zealand, the politicians and media were talking about the gender pay gap. I mean, how do we even identify that if we can't figure out male and female? But more importantly, at law, there are different laws that affect men and women. President Biden even talked about this when he was trying to get the Democratic nomination for president.
Fundamentally change the culture of how women are treated. No man has a right to raise a hand to a woman in anger other than in self-defense, and that's rarely ever occurs. And so we have to just change the culture, period, and keep punching at it and punching at it and punching at it.
Well, there we go. He could figure out about violence against women. Now, even the Law Commission did a report on women and access to justice, whether New Zealand women are treated properly by the legal system. And they said this: priority is placed on examining the impact of laws, legal procedures, and the delivery of legal procedures and the delivery of legal services upon family and domestic relationships, violence against women, and the economic position of women. Well, there we go. Obviously, the Law Commission could figure out the definition of woman. In fact, it's throughout our law. I had a look at New Zealand legislation. The Crimes Act has the term female 27 times in 9 sections, the term woman 20 times, and the term girl 4 times. They could figure it out. Parental Leave and Employment Protection Act has the term female 27 times. The Equal Pay Act 26 times. The Government Superannuation Fund 22 times. The Property Relationships Act also refers to female. In fact, I mean, see, it shows that legally we can figure out male and female. The Climate Change Agricultural Sector Regulations 2010 has the term female, although that's referring to sheep and cattle who are female. I mean, how do we figure that out? Well, as we know, biology isn't tricky. We can figure out man and woman, male and female, according to biology. It's in our law, it's in society. Kids know the difference. It's only tricky when leftist woke gender ideology is introduced. As I said earlier, if President Biden can figure it out, we can as well. It's time to get real.
I feel like a woman.